Today we're going to talk about foster children that may be in some of your classes. This is an issue that we decided to talk about because I think that despite who may be looking after the children in our school, everybody deserves the same care, and there really are some things that we can do in particular to support these children and just help them grow while they're here with us in these 2 years that they have at Honey Island. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how do children move to foster care. And
you know, Jill, I remember never having foster children at our school. It just seems like something that, I mean, now it's a lot more prevalent than it was before.
So it's really a growing population.
I think so.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, some of the students that end up in foster care, that could be due to abandonment, loss of a parent, either by neglect or death, or a parent being incarcerated. Might also have a child removed from the home due to substance abuse that was going on in the home. And then, of course, neglect, physical and sexual abuse. And the way that the process typically works is that if there is an able and willing caregiver in the home, the authorities will ask the negligent caregiver to leave so that the child can stay in their present environment. If that person is unwilling or that's not possible, the next step is that the authorities will try to place the child with a willing and capable relative, like an extended family member. Maybe that's a grandparent, an aunt, or an uncle, the great aunts and uncles as well. And then if no one is available at that point, the child will be placed in foster care, and sometimes, although this is much rarer, they may even go to like a home or a facility that's more of a group atmosphere. So that's pretty much how our kiddos end up in those situations with new caregivers that they might not know very well at all, or sometimes
Right.
complete strangers. And so, Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about the behaviors of these students that we might see here at school?
Sure. So when they come into our school and they come to class, and this can be true really whether they're in foster care with people they didn't know before, or if they've gone to live with an aunt or grandparents. You might notice that they're stealing things. A lot of times they have hoarding behaviors. I remember a teacher telling me one time that the child had some erasers, and she didn't know that the child had a childhood trauma situation, and she had taken the erasers because the child was playing with them, and it sent the child into a total meltdown because really what the child was doing was hoarding. These are my things, and so they were. It created quite a stir when the teacher did what teachers do. An increase in lying. A lot of times these children have had to lie to authority in the past. Maybe they've lied to protect a parent. So you'll see some of that. Anger. A lot of times, they're angry over the fact that they can't live with their parents. They're angry over the things that happened maybe when they lived with the parent. A lot of times they don't trust adults, so you'll see a lack of trust and maybe an unwillingness to share things with you. Also a lack of boundaries. These might be your children who hug a lot because they're just kind of starved for affection, and they haven't been taught good boundaries. Knowledge of inappropriate adult things. Unfortunately, they've possibly been exposed to things that we don't want children exposed to. And also because maybe they've been taking care of themselves, they have a hard time submitting to authority because they consider themselves as the authority. So I've definitely seen some of our students who were in foster care have that problem. So imagine if you saw these behaviors in a child who wasn't living in a relative's home or in foster care. What you may be seeing is a child who is still in a home where they're suffering from the things that foster children end up in foster care for, right? So they're suffering from some ongoing childhood trauma because of family issues, or they may be experiencing homelessness. So that's definitely, if you have a child that's doing some of these behaviors, we want to know.
Yeah, there's definitely red flags that maybe need some action taken.
Right. So what can they be doing, Jill, in the classroom to help these students that they're having?
Well, there's a few things that will help these students succeed, and number one, we want to build confidence in them and their own self-esteem. We can use esteem building statements to recognize their accomplishments and build that self-pride within them. We also will need to teach these kids, take extra time to teach them social skills, because that's going to be something that is, should have been learned at home, and it was probably lacking in their home environment. We can also take time to really help them find interest and focus on building some motivation to really continue their academic pursuits. And we know that starts with a good foundation early in elementary school to build success later on.
To break that cycle.
Yes, exactly. And we want to be that positive example for them so that we can teach them to be optimistic, that life doesn't have to be gloomy and dreary every day. We can find that little spark that we need to hold on to that's going to get us through the difficult days. We